A strange sense of déjà vu gripped me as we were granted a tour of the procured Terran vessel. I couldn't help but imagine a chill in the air and envision the scene of death that we witnessed not a day prior. The thought that we might share that fate crossed my mind. Sure, there had not been any non-humans on board the ship when we found it, but that hardly meant we were safe. Either the tragedy could expand to include the Federation's team, or perhaps we had been among the dead already. Whatever caused the crew to perish could have vaporized everyone but the humans, for some unknown reason. As General Rykov showed us our quarters, a wave of exhaustion flooded through my body. I realized I hadn't slept a retin since our dreadful find. My mind wanted nothing more than to rinse away the horrors of the day. It was all I could do not to collapse on the bed then and there. With only 5 days to prevent a calamity, how could I worry about myself? My eyes must have given away my desire, because Rykov pulled me aside as the others entered the bridge. Joffrey gave me a worried look. She didn't like the idea of a Terran officer cornering me, and to be fair, neither did I. The thought of being alone with a human was terrifying. They were known to be violent and temperamental. No doubt he would scold me if I showed a hint of weakness. I straightened and tried to look alert, but panic was already rising in my chest. This was much different than our previous meeting, when I was surrounded by Federation officers. Maybe Rykov was angry that I spoke out during the briefing, or perhaps he blamed me for his eventual fate.
Gosh, is it? The one who found the accident?
The General had turned his attention to a compact machine, inserting a small carton into its top. He placed a cup under it, so I assumed it was a beverage dispenser.
Please wait while your drink is being
How are you holding up?
I'm fine, sir, I replied. I apologize if I gave any impression of weakness. He knitted his eyebrows together.
There's no need to be nervous. Oh dear, you're shaking. Afraid of humans, I'm guessing.
What? I gasped in horror. It was much too close to the truth. It shouldn't have been that obvious. No, it's just... I mean... Rykov raised a hand to stop me.
It's okay, I'm used to it. Look, what you saw would be traumatic for anyone. I don't think you're weak for having an emotional response.
Have a wonderful
If you want to talk about it.
I hesitated. Opening up to a human seemed like a bad idea, but the concern in his voice sounded so genuine. If anyone should be traumatized, it's you. You're the one that will die. How can you carry on like nothing happened?
Sometimes it's easier to bottle up your feelings. Safer even.
He sighed.
Doesn't mean it's healthy. Believe me, I'm as frightened as anyone. But I have to consider crew morale. Who would follow a man who's shaking in his boots? Doesn't exactly inspire confidence.
I understand, sir. With leadership comes great responsibility.
Indeed. So tell me, honestly, how are you feeling?
Permission to speak free, sir?
Of course.
I loved your coax across the bridge earlier today. Every time I look at you, it brings my mind back to that. I'm confused, tired, and sick to my stomach. General Rykov nodded, retrieving the now full cup from his drink machine.
Drink this. Tastes like shit, but it'll help with the tired part.
I studied the mug with skeptical eyes. The steaming brown liquid was the core of dirt, and its strong, earthy smell didn't help with that association. Not wanting to offend a human, I took a small sip despite my misgivings. A bitter taste overwhelmed my senses, and it took all of my willpower to swallow it down. The human laughed, seeing the disgusted look on my face.
Coffee's not that bad. Down at least half of it. Trust me, you'll feel better.
Is that an order? I asked. Rykov chuckled.
I'm afraid so.
There was no way I would refuse an order from a superior unless it was in violation of galactic law. I closed my eyes and poured the scalding liquid down my throat, managing several gulps. I couldn't help but gag as the taste lingered in my mouth. Why would the humans ever consume something so vile?
That's enough.
The General pried the cup from my grasp and studied me with his rich brown eyes.
Gosh, I pulled you aside because frankly you look like hell. Are you sure you're up for this?
I want to help, sir. More than anything, I replied.
Good. In that case, let's join the others.
Wait, can I ask you something first?
Shoot.
Is it true, that you humans slaughter each other by the millions for no reason? That's, what people say, but you seem more normal than I expected. Rykov grimaced, as though my question caused him pain.
We used to. We drew our stupid lines in the sand and thought our locale made us different from each other. The powerful asked the young to die for them time and again, and kept us divided by ideology.
What changed?
Perspective. Up in space it was plainly obvious, but we're all in the same damn rock. I'd be happy to discuss humanity's mistakes at greater length, but another time, another place. We need to get moving. To the bridge.
I mused his words as we descended the stairwell to the command center. While I occasionally crossed paths with humans on base, that was my first interaction with one since the war. There had been nothing aggressive about Rykov's behavior, despite his species' reputation. In fact, he had been more cordial than most officers I had encountered. After all of the fantastical stories about humanity, from tales of serial killers prowling their streets for amusement, to bombs that could eliminate an entire fleet in a single blast, I hadn't expected a Terran to label warfare as idiocy, especially a general who had carved a career out of it. Perhaps Sherman's been not as animalistic as the Federation believed. I found Joffrey by the holodisplay fixing the hand scanner with a blank stare. She looked mildly annoyed, but that was the only emotion her expression revealed. Despite her calm appearance, I knew the stress of the day had taken its toll on her too. She was an expert at masking her feelings under a veil of sarcasm, but that didn't fool me one bit.
Well, what did he want?
Joffrey fixed me with an inquisitive look, but there was a hint of worry in her eyes.
A private dance?
"Joe," I hissed, "that's not funny." Her whiskers twitched.
What? I won't stand for anyone stealing my man.
"First off, I'm not your man," I protested. "You're not even into guys."
So he was making moves on you. You didn't deny it.
She said. "No, you're unbelievable. Rythoff was just checking up on my mental state. Seemed worried even."
Is he going to throw you off the ship? If he's already worried that you're going to jeopardize the mission.
"It wasn't like that. You're not going to believe this, but I felt like he cared. Truly."
Gosh, I don't mean to sound dismissive, but I doubt a general from a military species cares about your problems. Humans are always looking for an angle. You need to stop thinking of them as friends and see them as dangerous allies.
"But he said..."
It doesn't matter what he said. Words are easy. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here for you, okay? You know that.
I lowered my head, feeling my fur prickle with embarrassment. As much as I wanted to argue, Joffrey was right. Only a gullible Phil would be disarmed by a few sympathetic words. If my goal was to accompany this mission, then giving its human leader cause for concern was the last thing I should do.
All right, everyone, listen up.
General Rykov's voice thundered through the room, silencing any stray chatter.
We dug up the Pisces registration, and it appears to be an ordinary transport for holodesk parts. That said, knowing what we know, you should stay vigilant. You are authorized to use whatever force you deem fit, but only if we're attacked first. According to its transponder, it is currently docked on a small Covian colony, which is where we're landing in a few minutes. The plan is to seize the ship, track down its owners, and make sure they never go for their little joyride in 5 days. Any questions?
The Terran General was answered by silence. Even General Blaise, the disagreeable chief officer of the Chitauri, had no objections to the proposal. It seemed like a straightforward plan to prevent the vessel from moving stolen goods in the first place.
Good. Just want to say I appreciate the Federation's support, more than you know. It's a welcome change.
Rykov plotted the course of the descent, and the ship altered its trajectory with a droning hum.
Let's rewrite history.